Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're tackling a massive challenge that, honestly, almost every growing business faces: chaotic, completely unstructured operations. If you've ever felt like your company's daily processes are held together by, I don't know, a fragile web of scattered emails, sticky notes, and a dozen isolated software tools, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're looking at a true enterprise-grade solution called Atagente. We're going to explore exactly how this platform brings order to all that chaos and really orchestrates intelligent process automation across your entire business.
So, what exactly is Atagente? Simply put, it's an intelligent process orchestration platform. Its core purpose is to take your everyday business processes and transform them into structured, executable workflows. And I really want to emphasize what it is not. This isn't just another basic chatbot or some simple, rigid script. Instead, think of it as a unified coordinator for your whole operation. It seamlessly blends automated tasks, AI-powered intelligence, and this is absolutely crucial: human oversight, all into one coordinated, totally visible flow.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the digital assembly line. Second, controlled intelligence explained. Third, the anatomy of a workflow. Fourth, a workflow in action, and finally, mastering business processes. All right, let's get right into it.
Section 1. The Digital Assembly Line.
When you think of manufacturing, you probably picture an assembly line, right? Raw materials move predictably through various stages until, boom, a finished product emerges. Well, Agentic applies that exact same logic to your digital operations. There's a core philosophy here. Businesses define how work should happen. Agentic turns that process into an executable workflow. That is such a critical point. The technology shouldn't dictate how you run your company. You, the business owner, the operations leader, you make the rules. You define the logic. Agentic simply acts as the engine that executes your vision, ensuring that every single task happens exactly as you intended, every single time.
Moving on to Section 2. Controlled Intelligence Explained.
We hear the term AI thrown around absolutely everywhere today, right? But Atagente handles it in a highly disciplined way. Think about your basic chatbots. They represent unrestricted, often totally unpredictable, open conversational AI. Sometimes they give you a brilliant answer, other times they hallucinate or drift completely off topic. By contrast, Atagente uses what we call controlled intelligence, and this brilliantly illustrates the difference. Here, AI is completely structured, rule-bound, and process-driven. The AI doesn't just invent random workflow steps on the fly. It's only allowed to operate within a specific set of permitted choices that you define for your business. If an AI response tries to go outside those boundaries, the system has fallbacks to keep everything safely on track.
Section 3. Anatomy of a Workflow.
Let's zoom in from that high-level philosophy for a second and look at the actual building blocks. Like, how do we take a massive, complicated operation and actually make it executable? Well, we break down that complexity into manageable, highly visible units. Now, what's really interesting about this is how the hierarchy works. At the top level, you have the process. That's the entire operation from start to finish. Below that, the process is divided into steps. Think of these as major phases, like a review phase or a validation phase. Then we get really granular with subnodes. A subnode is just a single, specific task inside that step, maybe extracting data from a document or making a conditional choice. And finally, overseeing this whole operation is the orchestrator. That's the intelligent brain calculating dependencies and determining exactly which step is ready to execute next.
To actually execute those specific tasks I just mentioned, the platform uses what are called task agents. And right now, the engine comes equipped with 10 distinct task agent types ready to execute specific subnodes. This gives the platform just incredible versatility. Whether a task requires basic data routing, evaluating a complex decision gate, or heavy data extraction, there's a dedicated agent ready to jump in and do the job perfectly.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Automation is great, sure, but we can't automate everything. Which leads us to a really vital question. But what happens when human judgment is required? Because let's be real, you do not want a machine making the final call on a massive financial refund or a sensitive employee request, right?
This is exactly where the platform's human-in-the-loop capability really shines. It acts as a critical safety valve. When the workflow hits a step that requires human input, it executes an intentional pause. The system literally just stops. It then creates a checkpoint, safely saving the exact current state of the workflow. It waits patiently for an employee to review the data, fill out a form, or click an approval button.
And once that human gives the green light, the workflow safely resumes execution from the exact spot it left off. This proves it's not just blind runaway automation. You always retain ultimate control.
Section 4. A workflow in action.
It's one thing to talk about conceptual building blocks, but let's move to a practical, real-world business scenario and see how this builds, node by node, to deliver real return on investment. Imagine an important customer request comes in. Here is how Atagent handles that entire lifecycle. First, it captures the request. Second, an AI task agent extracts the specific required data from it. Third, a gate validates the info and conditionally routes it based on your specific business rules. Fourth, because it's a high-value request, the system pauses for human approval. A manager reviews it, says yes, and clicks approve. Finally, in step 5, the system processes the final approved action.
And regarding that final step, processing the action, Atagente doesn't just live in its own little bubble. The platform features a really powerful tool layer that handles external integration seamlessly. It can execute tasks directly in the systems your team already uses every single day. We're talking sending an email via Gmail, updating a ticket in Jira, or communicating directly with your specific HTTP business applications. The workflow truly bridges the gap between all your different software tools.
Section 5. Mastering your business processes.
Let's zoom back out for a second and summarize the enterprise-grade capabilities that power everything we've just seen. Atagente provides a complete suite of professional tools. So the crucial point is how accessible this all is. For instance, one of the most amazing features is the AI-assisted workflow creation via Atagente Studio. You can literally just give it a plain English document describing how your business process works, and it will automatically generate a structured workflow draft for you. It's wild. Beyond that, you get intelligent routing, live monitoring so you always know the exact status of a request, built-in retry and exception handling if something fails, and complete workflow history and audit visibility. Every step, every decision, and every single human approval is recorded and traceable.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the digital assembly line to controlled intelligence, right down to the anatomy of a workflow, which leaves us with one final and honestly very important question to think about. If your business runs on processes, and let's face it, they all do, who is orchestrating yours? Are you still relying on a chaotic mix of emails and standalone tools, or are you ready to bring true structure, intelligence, and total visibility to your operations? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this gives you a fresh perspective on what is truly possible with intelligent process automation.